What's going on, everybody? It is Ben Teaches Tech here with another tech tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a Google site for beginners. Okay, I'm not going to be going into anything like really advanced, but let's be honest, Google Sites, that platform, there's not too many advanced things that you can do with it just yet. In the future there could be, but right now there isn't, so I'm just going to be showing you guys the beginners on how to do it. So this video is perfect for people that want to create a site but don't know what to use, or want to create a site but don't want to do anything like too advanced or something simple. Okay, because Google Sites is one of like the most simplest platforms that you can use to create a site. So I'm going to be showing you just that and how to create one. So first thing that you want to do is open a new tab, or if you're already on to where you can see like new site and stuff, that's fine, just wait. I'm going to be showing you guys first how to get there. So if you go up to the top and you go to the search bar and you type in sites.google.com, it will bring you into this. Now before we continue, I just want to say make sure that you subscribe, like, and turn on post notifications for you do get notified when I upload a new video. A lot of people do subscribe but do not turn on the notifications, you know, that bell right next to the subscribe button. If you don't turn that on, how are you going to know when I upload a new video? So make sure that you get that button turned on for all notifications. Alright? So there are different templates that you can choose, but I think it's best to start with a blank site just so that you can customize it to everything that you want. All of your recent sites will be shown down here. As you can see, I have one for Ben Teaches Tech, but just like stuff that I have made for my Teaches Tech. If you want to actually go to that website, if you go to my link tree that I have on my socials, or if you go to my YouTube channel in like that about section or the description area where it says socials, my website will be listed there for you guys to check out. Alright, but I'm going to start with a blank site. Give it a second to load. And this is what you will see when you create a site, a Google site. Alright, it'll bring you to something that looks like this. Now the first thing that I tend to do is give it a name. So let's just say Ben Teaches Tech Site 2, just for example. Now you want to put it here where it says enter site name 2, and it will automatically fill it in because it knows that you did it above. Alright, now you can choose your page title. So this is going to be the page that when they type in your URL to go to your website, this is the first thing that they are going to see. So if you say, for example, home, you can do home, for example. Now you can choose an image. So you can upload an image from your computer, or you can select an image. And these are like preset images that Google has given you access to use in their gallery to use for this. You can also do it by URL and get a URL of an image online. Google Images, you can do this photos one, and then also you can get something from Google Drive as well. But I'm just going to do a basic gallery one, so we'll just pick this one for example and click insert. And you can say C will automatically put it in for you. Now you can choose the header type. Now there are 4 different options that you can choose from. Cover is where it's going to cover that whole entire page, and you have to scroll down to see buttons and other things that are in there. And if you don't know what a button is for this, we'll go over that in just a couple minutes. A large banner where they can see most of it, but maybe can see a little bit on the bottom for other stuff. And then banner is the one where it's just going to cover like half of the screen, but then the other half has like what you have put below here. And then title only is where you will not have that image and it will just be the header. Just the title only. But I like the banner one. I do have the cover for my first one on my actual Ben Teaches Tech website, so feel free to check that out. But yeah, that's what that one is. But I'm going to keep this at banner for I can show you the other features. If you go all the way to this other side, you're going to see 2 different buttons. You have something that kind of looks like sparkles or diamonds or something like that, and then one that has like an anchor. The sparkles or diamond thingy, that removes readability adjustment. So if you click on that, that's going to make it brighter. Okay, but if I have that on, it's going to be easier to read the actual text on the screen for your header. But if you turn that off, it might be a little bit difficult depending on what the image is. And then anchor image is where you can choose what part of the image you want shown. So right now mine's in center, but if I want more of like the top image, like the top center image to be shown, I can do that. Or the bottom right or left, right, or anything that I would like on the image to be shown. But I keep it at center, depending on what you want the image to be showing. Now let's kind of get to the stuff that is on this right panel here, is what I'm going to call that, okay, on this right panel. So there are 3 different tabs on the top here. We have Insert, Pages, and Themes. Insert is where you can insert different things. So you can insert a text box. So if you insert a text box, this is where you can just add different text that you would like. And then of course you get the options that you would on like Google Docs or Microsoft Word, where you can like bold, italic, underline, pick a text color, size, font, all of that kind of stuff. You can even add a link. So yeah, and you can also align it depending on where you want it on the page, bullet. So you have a lot of option when it comes to texts. And if you just click enter, it will just keep going until you don't want to. It will just keep going down on the text box. Okay, and then to delete the text box, right here where it says remove, you would click that. These 3 dots just gives you more stuff that you can do. But if you click delete, you have deleted that text box. So that's how you can add a text box. Images, this is where you can upload an image from your computer, or you can select an image. So you can select an image through your Google Drive, through pasting a URL of an image online, Google Images, or Photos. So you can select images that way. So if I want to put like my Google logo, for example, so we'll just put like this one, for example, my logo. And we click Insert. You can see it added that image right there. So now I can choose if I want to crop that image. So you have this little slider of how you want to crop it. I haven't really done a lot of cropping. You can only really crop it in the square, which is not something I really like. So Google, if you're watching this, please make it a little nicer to crop. Google Sites, please. But yeah, that is how you can crop. It's not the best, but I wish they would improve that. Here is where you can uncrop it so you see the full-on image if you do something you didn't want to do. You can add a link, so that's how I added a link to that YouTube video I put on my website, where you click it and it goes to that YouTube video. I clicked insert link, and you can insert any link that you would like. You can duplicate it and add another one of the same image. You can remove it. And then there's also 3 dots where you can replace the image with another thing, so you can upload from your computer again, or select from Google Photos, online, URL, stuff like that again. Or you can add a caption. So if you want to like give me a description or something about what the image is, you can add a caption. It's basically like a small text box right under the image. Pretty self-explanatory. And then embed, I haven't really done a lot of that, but what embed does is, let's say for example, I have, like for example, has anybody used Classroom Screen? It's like a teacher's thing that you can use for like, there's just a fun classroom thing. So you can put like a specific, you can add like a URL in there, and you can see like the preview for it. And you click on insert. What it's going to do is basically, you're going to be able to actually do something with this when you're actually on your website. So it's going to be like an extra web browser or something that is on your website. Trying to find a good way to explain it because it's a little difficult. If you want a full in-depth of how to do it, please look it up, because I'm not the best when it comes to embed, but at least I know something about it. But yeah, you can do that with like YouTube videos. If you want to like put a YouTube video on your site, you can do it that way as well. There's different settings for it, where you can have it like show the image, show the title, and then show a description. So if you didn't want that big description on the bottom, you can change that there. We'll remove that. And then there was an extra part where embed code. So if you have like an HTML code, you can do that there. No idea how to do that, so please don't ask me. Maybe I'll make a video sometime when I learn about it, but right now I don't really know that much about embed. Have I been saying embed the whole time? Embed. Sorry about that. And then you can also add things like from your Google Drive, like images, PDFs, stuff like that. Like, hey, there's the Kami export and Toy Sports stuff that I did from my last video. So, like, if you wanted to, like, do that and click insert, like, you can insert a PDF, a Google Doc, or anything like that. Please know that if you do insert, like, an actual file, it will ask you, do you want to give people access to this? Because, like, if you're sharing this with, like, the public, or, like, your building or something like that, you're going to want to make sure that they can actually access these files. So you can either have them in edit, commenter, or viewer. I normally keep it at viewer unless I want something to be changed if it needed to be. Okay, so if you click on share, then this person or whoever comes on my website now will be able to view this. But now if I do want to change that, I do have to go to Google Drive, go to this file, and I do have to change that if I want them to be able to edit it and stuff like that. But it's a PDF, so they won't be able to edit it as much unless they go and like do it with Kami or something like I showed you guys how to edit it in my last video. Alright, but we'll remove that. That's just one of the ways to add a file. Now, content blocks. I love content blocks. They're awesome. Now, what that means is, think of it kind of like a template in a way. So if you have, like, for example, 3 different pictures, for example, but you want to include captions of them below, you can see there's like a 3 picture thing and then like text boxes or something below. If you click on that, it'll automatically put this in here, where if you click the plus button, you can automatically add an image and stuff. So like if I select an image of something, I think maybe it will work, maybe it doesn't want to work. So if I add an image of, let's say this, for example, as one of my images, and I want to say that's my YouTube header, for example, I can do that and say, like, this is my YouTube header. Something simple like that. And then it's basically just like a spot where if you want to add pictures for something that you did and stuff like that, you can keep on doing this, and you can keep on clicking this as many times as you want until you have all the pictures and stuff that you want. So it's a nice way, like if you took a trip somewhere and you want to make a site like Florida website or something, or Florida trip website, and you want to like have all the pictures that you took from it for everybody in your family can see, this is a great way to do that. Now, you can remove them. Unfortunately, you do have to remove them one time at a time. The shift and thing doesn't really work here, which is, I wish it did, but it doesn't. But yeah, you have to remove them all each at one time. Okay? Down here, we have a couple other options that we can choose from. But I'm actually going to quickly go over the undo and redo buttons. So the undo is up here. Kind of think about like the way top of the screen where it says like all changes saved in Drive. This does automatically save everything that you do. So that's a great thing. If you click on all changes saved in Drive, it will show you your version history. So you can see that as well, which is very nice. Alright, but I'm going to undo all of these actions. You can see you have an undo and redo button. I'm just going to undo everything that I did here before we can continue on this tutorial, because there was a lot of things that I put in there that I didn't want. And then there's also redo, which can redo what you already have. Alright. After that, we have preview. So this is going to preview your website, but I'm going to talk about these ones after I finish the panel first, because the panel has a lot of stuff that we still have to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about that first, and then we'll come back to these. All right, so right under these like template, image, and text boxes and all these other fun stuff, you have a couple other buttons and options that you can do. So you have collapse group. So what that's going to do is it's like where you can add like a heading text box and then like a little thing below, which is kind of like a drop-down menu at some point. So if you say like pictures, for example, right? And that's drop down, and then they click drop down, you can say like this is coming sometime next week or something like that. And then when you actually do have pictures, and you have pictures, you can actually put them, I'm pretty sure, somehow in here, which is pretty cool. Alright, and it can collapse stuff like that. Alright? By like dragging it into this area here, where now that, Okay, so collapse groups. Hey, looks like we learned something together. You can only have text, and what was the other thing in this? Only have text or image tiles in this. So you cannot actually put this with it. I think it can only be image tiles. So that's a good thing to know. Okay, so that's collapse group. Table of contents, another thing that you can add. Image carousel. That's where you can have multiple images that are like circling or like shuffling while you're going through the site. I'm pretty sure that's what that does. And then button, this is one I use a lot. I have it on my website too. So for example, if the button I chose is YouTube, for example, right? I get to choose a link. Now you can also, for a button, choose another page in this. So like if you have like home and follow me on social media, like I do, I can actually link this to follow page on social media if I put this there, and it will bring you to that other page in my website. So it doesn't always have to be something that goes out of your website. But for this one I will. So youtube.com and insert that, and that will automatically insert. You can choose where you want it and stuff like that, and you can choose like where on the page you want. You can make the button bigger or smaller, all depending on what is great for you. Divider is where you can divide things. If you have a lot of things on one page and you just want it to look a little bit more clean, you can divide it. Same thing with a spacer to make it more clean. You can add social links to like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that kind of fun stuff that I have on my website. I actually didn't do it that way. I was lazy and I just did buttons for all of mine, but I might change that at some point. Placeholder is where you can place like an image or something like you want. It's basically kind of looks like an image without that text box, where you can create like, you can upload something, select an image, do it from your Google Drive, something from YouTube, your calendar, map, fun stuff like that. If you go to the YouTube spot, you can actually add a YouTube thing, so you can see there's my Kami PDF editor tutorial that I did yesterday. So if I want to like bring that over, I can, and I can insert that, and you can say, oh, there it is. So yeah, that's one of the other ways, and I might also change that on my website so it looks like that instead, because that actually looks a little more cool. But yeah, that's how you can do that as well. Okay, you can add calendar stuff, so any calendar events that you got, any map stuff. So if you want to like do anything that goes with a map, you can. Add a Google Docs, slide sheets, forms, and then charts is where you can have, if you have any charts and stuff, you can add those to here as well. And then docs, slide sheets, forms, you can add like any of those things that you want as well. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on each one of these 4 things at some point as well, because I do like docs, slide sheets, and forms way better than I like Microsoft things. I just think it's way more simple and easier to use. So this is the insert tab. Now pages. The pages tab is a little bit more easy. Okay, this is where right now you can see it's home. That's where I'm at right now. If you hover your mouse over it and you click these 3 dots, you can duplicate this page. So doing that is going to create the exact same copy of the page, but just another one of it. There's properties, so this is where you can change the name of it. And then advanced is where you can create like a custom path, but this is going to be a beginner's tutorial, so I'm not going to really cover that much of stuff. Okay, so this is that properties part, and then you can also add a sub page. Now what that is I'm going to delete this one first, and I'll show you guys how to do that a little bit after you probably already saw it. But if you add a sub page and you say like home information, for example, just for now, that's where if you hover your cursor over this home, you'll see there's a drop down now where you can go to like page inside page. So like for example, if I had like a Google site on like my classroom and I had like 5 units, for example, if I did like unit 1 and I made a drop down for like unit 1 for lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, I can even go to the extreme and do like lesson 1 to sub lesson 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So you can even go from like home information and add another sub page into it. So I mean, you can go as in depth in this website that you would like. Okay. So if you want to delete a page or a subpage or a page or anything like that, you go to the three dots. You can make that the home page. So if you want them, when they enter in your URL, to go to this home information page instead of the actual home, you can do that. You can duplicate the page. Properties again, where you can change it or add a custom path. Add another subpage. You can actually hide it from navigation. So hiding it from navigation is where it would not show up in, as you can see, it would not show up in the top part on where you can like go to different things in your website. So let's say like you had something in sales and you're like, okay, this product's not available again. I don't need this product to show up in here. And it was like a page. I could like hide that navigation so that they couldn't see that anymore. But then you can also do the same thing, click show navigation, and it will come right back. And then delete, we'll delete that. And then you're back to what you had before. But if you want to create a new one and you don't want to create subpages, you go to this little plus button on the panel on like the bottom. And if you just hover your mouse, there's four options. There's new page, which is the one that your cursor is actually on right now. New link. So what that does is instead of it bringing you to another page in your website, you click on that like toggle or that thing on the top and it will bring you right to that link. So if I do like name it and I name it like YouTube, for example, and I type in like youtube.com, I can choose if I want to open a new tab or not. If I don't have it open in a new tab, that means that it will use this actual tab that has my website open and it will get them out of my website and they'll just be on YouTube. But opening a new tab will open in a new tab so that they at least have the website to come back to on the other tab. So if I click done, and now you can see that YouTube's there. But if I click on it, it'll bring me to YouTube. But you can see because I opened it in a new tab, then I still have my website to come back to. So now, after that, there's full page embed. So you can embed a full page of something. And then new menu section. So that's if I put in like menu section, what that's going to do is if there was like different, I don't know a ton about that, but I feel like it's like something that you can make for like a menu selection. I don't know that much about it. I don't really know that much of what it's for, but I think it's more like, it's not really like another page. It's just a spot where you could, for like a drop down or for you to have subsections. Okay, it says delete menu. This action will remove a page that has had nested pages. So if you nested pages are like things that you have already. So if you click delete, it will delete those pages. But the one that I use the most is the new page option, the biggest button there is. And this is where you can choose what you want the name to be. So we'll just name it Follow Me on Social Media. We'll just do that, right? And advanced is a custom path. And now you can see it created that page there. Now, of course, I can go back to insert and use a button or whatever to do it. But that is how you create the page. And then you have all the options again. So it's pretty simple to make a pages. I know I made that a little difficult, but I wanted to show you all four of the different options that you could do. And then the last one, and my favorite one, themes. Now, themes are not templates. Let me just put you there right there. It's not templates. This is where you can choose kind of like what you want the font style to be. So right now it's on simple, but you can make it like, there's like different themes that you can do with different like fonts. You can choose like different colors that you want them to be. And you can also use this weird thing to change it as well. And there's a couple different like themes that you can choose of as well. Or you can make your own custom creative theme and you could add like a logo and stuff. But we'll talk about this part in a minute. But this is where you can like create your own custom theme or import a theme. And you import a theme through your Google Drive. Pretty sure it's the only way that you can import, yeah. Alright, so now let's come back up to the top here, because this, if you haven't listened to anything else, this is where you need to listen, because this part is very important and pretty fun and very useful. So we talked about the undo and redo buttons, right? Next to that is this button that has like this little laptop and phone tablet thingy next to it. That's called preview. That's where you can actually click on to preview your actual website. Now you can see it says you're viewing an unpublished version of the site because we have not published this yet. And you're probably like, what do you mean publish? I thought it automatically saves. It does. But you have to publish it to make it available for the web and other people to use online. Okay? And I'll show you what that means and how to do that in a minute. Down here, you'll see this little gray, am I colorblind? This like black thing. So there's three options. You can view this on like a phone, so you can see what a phone would see. You can view this on a tablet, and then also on a large like computer screen. So you can view it like how people would view it on different things. Be like, okay, if they view it on a phone like this, is this an okay view for them to see? Or if they view this on a tablet, is this okay for them to look at? They're viewing this on a large screen. Does this look good? And then there's also report a problem, and then to exit preview, you just click the X or click on this arrow in the top left corner to get out of preview mode. Now, you can see this like link thingy right next to preview is graded out because you have not published the site yet. Now, before we do that, I want to show you this. This is where you can share with others. Now, this is not where you can share like the site with people that you just want to be able to actually go on the site. This is if you want like collaborators or people that can actually edit the site and make it look better with you. All right. So if you want to, you can add people to help with the site. You don't have to, but you can if you would like. And then general access, so the draft you can make restricted, or the published site is what you want. You can choose to make that public, or you can remove the link. But there's not really a link yet for there. But if you do add it as restricted, that means nobody, even if it is published with the URL, no one can see it. But if you click public, then everybody can see it. Now, if you do have like a Google Suite for Education, or you have a domain or something, I think you can add it where only people in your domain can see the site. But I, with this account, do not have a domain address. Mine's simply just gmail.com right now. But if you do have a domain, I think you can also have it where only that specific domain can see it. And like, it would show up in like this drop down, I'm pretty sure. All right, but I'm going to leave mine at public. Make sure to keep the draft as restricted because that's where only people that you invite can edit the site. If you have this as anyone with the link, that means that anybody will see that little thing on the bottom right corner that says edit, and anybody could edit your site, and who knows what would happen next. So please make sure that that stays restricted unless you are fine risking it. Okay, I'm not pressuring you, but I would leave that where it is. Okay. Next is settings. Now you're going to probably be like, well, this is, what do I need in settings? Well, this is where it comes fun. Navigation. So you know those buttons on the top of the website where you can go to like different pages and stuff? You can either choose to do that on the top or on the side, where they have to, if you do it on the side, they have these like three like lines called the sidebar, and they kind of have their own panel where they go like this way to do it. I think it looks cool. You might not. That's fine. But you can either have it on the sidebar like that or on the top like this, depending on what you like. Right now, mine's on the top. It will automatically be on the side, though, for like, for example, a tablet or a phone, as I showed you in preview, just because the device is too small to show all of this and this all at the same time, okay? So just keep that in mind. It's just if you have this, it's mostly for people on laptops or big devices who could see it the other way. If you really do want them to have it on the side, you can. So this mode basically applies to bigger devices, basically. And then color, you can either have it transparent, white, or black, depending on what you want for the navigation to look like. Transparent, white, depending on what you would like it. I keep it at transparent for it matches everything else, but that's just me. You can choose on your own. Next, we have brand images. Now, this is my area where I love. You can add a logo. So if you want to add a logo to your site, you can upload one with through your PC or your Mac or whatever computer that you have, or you can select an image from your Google Drive, from a link, from Google Images, or from Photos. So I'm going to add my logo for Ben Teaches Tech, and you'll see that the logo appears right on the side here. But you're probably like, what about this like cool thing that when you go to the website you can see like this little image up here like by the tab? That's called a favicon. Hey, you may have learned something new today. That is called a favicon. Now, if I'm being honest, I didn't really know much about it when I first learned about it, but I'll show you guys how to do that in just a second. But there is alt text, so you can also, that's by screen readers for people who might have trouble seeing it. So if you want to say logo, for example, that would help let them know, oh, that's the logo. But you do not have to. That's just a way for screen readers and people that might have trouble. It's one way to help them. And you can also select a color to be used for that specific theme, depending on what you think would be good that matches that logo. Favicon, right here, you can either upload from your desktop, PC, Mac, Windows, anything that you got online to be able to do that. And then select, again, same thing, Google Drive link, Google Images or Photos. I would upload the same thing that you had for your logo as your favicon, just so it looks a little more professional. But if you want to do something different and a different logo and a different favicon, that's okay. But now that the favicon is on there, it is not going to be on there yet because I haven't published it. But now that both of them are on there, I am good. Now you cannot add alt text right now for a favicon, only for a logo. Viewer tools, don't know a ton about this, but this is where you can anchor info icons. So there's like, it's in the lower left of your published site and it shows like different details. And then you can like hover over an icon to reveal content and stuff. And then like show your page's last updated time and stuff. I just leave it on and then anchor links as well. So when you hover over headings and stuff, I don't really mess with these. I don't really need to, but yeah, you can change these if you can turn them on and off if you would like. Custom domain. So if you want to have a custom domain instead of the sites.google.com/view/your name of your website, that's the default. If you're making this on a domain and you don't have a custom one, it'll be sites.google.com/your domain address/your website name. So if that, how can I say this? So let's say your domain name is Ben Teaches Tech, right? Even though I don't have one yet, it would say sites.google.com/Ben Teaches Tech/your website name. Okay, so like if you work at a school or you have a business or you have a domain like Google Suite for Education or Google Suite like account, you would have a domain / your address. Okay, but if you don't and you don't have any domain, it would be sites.google.com/view/your website name. So that's what mine is right now. So it's sites.google.com/view/Ben Teaches Tech. That's my website name. Okay, but if you do have a custom domain that you want to be like www.benteachestech.com, you can. I'm planning on doing that in the future, but right now I don't have it. But you can connect a custom domain that way as well. And you can see right there, need a domain, get one with Google Workspace, and you also get a professional email address, blah, 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 blah. That's how you can try Google Workspace there. Analytics. So this is where you can enable analytics so you can see like insights and metrics and when people view your website and all that kind of fun stuff. And then announcement banner. Now, announcement banner is where it will be displayed above your site. So if you click show banner, you can choose the banner color. So I'll just make it white. And then you can say like, if it's like closed, you can say like, you get 50% off until Sunday. Something cool like that if it's like anything like that. And then you can have like a button label, a link if you want to go somewhere. And then you can also have the link open in a new tab. And then you can have it visible on only the home page or on all pages, depending on what you would like. And that can be there if you would like. And if you click X out of that, you can see, boom, that's there. So what that's nice for is if you, for example, school's closed and you're using Google Sites for your, let's say your school website or something, this is where you could say like no school, blah, 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 and stuff like that, okay? So it's kind of like a way to get people's attention. Oh, there's something I need to read up top. Kind of like which is the announcement. Okay, then the three dots over past settings is the more option. This is where you can view version history. And from version history, you can see the current version when you edited it last. And you can even go to like a previous version, click the three dots, and you can restore that version. You can name that version, or you can make a copy of that version. So if you're like, okay, I want to go back to this version that I had before, I can click three dots. And I can click on restore this version, rename. I must have gave it a name or something. Or make a copy. So if I want to restore that version, it's going to say, you sure about this? And then you can choose restore. And now you have restored it today at this specific date and that specific time. You can make a copy of this site. You can ask for help using like a take a tour or help center training, blah, 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 all that fun stuff. Help, and then you can also have help sites improve, and then you can report abuse if necessary. All right. Now, here is the most important thing, is publishing it. Now, I know you're probably like, well, why would I need to publish it if it automatically saves automatically? It's saving your changes that you have made. If you are doing anything on here, but you do not publish your site when you are done making the changes, you'll come back and all the changes will still be on your editing part, but nothing takes effect to the actual website unless you publish it. So if I click publish, it says publish to the web, and now I get to give it a web address. So you can see https ://sites.google.com/view/ and then whatever website that I choose it to be, whichever I say after that. So if I do like Ben Teaches Tech, I can't do that anymore because it's already taken. So make sure that it is something that is not used. So if I say like 10, for example, you can see there's a check mark, meaning that I can use it now. And then there's also get a professional domain and email if you have Google Workspace or if you have an existing domain. And then right here, who can view my site? Anyone. And then if you're not agree with that, you can click manage. And this is where you can change that and stuff as I showed you before. And then there's also support on the top, and then this little settings button for access where you can see it will say editors can publish, change permissions, and add new people. If you don't want them to be able to do that, but you want to be the only one that can actually publish it, but you're okay if they actually change stuff on the editor part, but you want to make sure that you see it first, and you want to be able to one that is going to publish it, then turn that off. Okay? But you can turn it on and off depending on what you think is best for you. All right, but if we say that's what we want and we click publish, now that site has been published. So you might actually be able to go to the website and actually see it right now, but I don't even know if it's going to be up when I upload the video. We'll see. It might be. Probably not forever, but my actual one will be still up, but the other one I don't think this one that I made today, I don't think it's going to be up the whole time. But yeah, if I make a change, but if I go to a new tab and I type in sites.google.com/view/Ben Teaches Tech 10, you will see, well, there it is. So you can see, boom, there's the site that we made today. There's the YouTube link. You click on it, it goes to YouTube. There's the video for the Cami video editor.
What's up, everybody?
As you can see there. And there's that drop down for pictures. Follow me on social media. There's that other page. And you can see everything that you did. And if you click on this little logo or the text up on the top left, it'll go back to that specific homepage and stuff like that. And you can always see. Now, here's something I want to tell you before we end the video because we're almost done. Okay, so if I make a change here and I want this to be called, let's say, dashboard, for example, right? Line it to the middle. And I am like, okay, all changes saved in Drive, I'm good. If I refresh the page, it is not going to change because I have not actually clicked the publish button. If I go out of the site and I go back into the site, you'll see my changes have been made, but it didn't actually take effect to the actual website. That is because you have to click publish to do that. You'll see right here, review changes and published. You can see I changed it from dashboard. So you can see currently published is the home part. The draft is dashboard. And you'll see right here, updated home in the changes option on like this little panel in the top, on the left. that's how you can see it. There's settings up here too. You can change the web address, search settings, so you can request public search engines to not display my site and stuff if you would like. And then once you're like, okay, I think it's better now, you click publish. It'll publish it, and now it says your site has been published successfully. Now any new changes that you have made since you last published it will now be showing up. So now if I refresh the page, bingo. Now you have the new look. Now you have the new now you have the new changes that are in effect now. All right, so that is how you do it. If you have any questions about Google Sites, or you need help with anything and you don't know how to do something, or if I forgot to cover something, please comment below, as I will always try my best to reach out for a comment and help you guys. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Peace.